Assalamu alaikum. May peace be upon all of you, my fellow learners, professionals, ladies and gentlemen. This video, as you would have seen from the thumbnail or the caption, is the MCS Management Case Study or Gateway Pre-seen Reading Assist that I'm creating just to help you out. So if you're someone who is taking the Gateway paper or the MCS paper, so to speak, interchangeably, and you want to read the pre-seen, you want a helping hand, you want someone taking you through it, or rather you want a partner to read it with, here I am, hoping that this video will help you as it has helped many before you. So again, I want to reiterate, I'm not currently engaged with the Gateway paper or the MCS paper officially. I'm specializing on the SCS now, the strategic case study. But this video, I hope, will be a good help, good supporting tool for you to maybe listen to or just read it with me so that it'll, get you familiarized. And I would recommend it for someone who is either reading it first or someone who wants to kind of look at it or work on it at a later stage close to the exam. Let's have a look. The CIMA Gateway Case Study examination for November 2021 and February 2022. Pre-seen material. The name of the company is Frinta. You have this nice logo. Let's see what it looks like. A home in which there's a person. There are a couple of Wi-Fi signals. This indicates to something nice and beautiful. See, but before that, the COVID-19 statement. This pre-seen and the case study in general, while aiming to reflect real life, are set in a context where the COVID-19 pandemic has not had an impact. Remember, marks in the exam will be rewarded or awarded for valid arguments that are relevant to the question asked. Valid arguments, relevant. Answers that make relevant references to the pandemic. Relevant references, so relevant being the key word here. Relevant references to the pandemic or social distancing will of course be marked on their merit. In most cases, however, candidates may find it useful or helpful to assume that there are no restrictions to the movement of people, goods, or services in place. So, main assumption, assume that there's no COVID, because if supply chains and all those things get disrupted, then talking about this business becomes challenging. But in important points or in cases, in occasions where you find referencing or referring to the pandemic or social distancing, etc., lockdowns, etc., you can just plug it in, but that shouldn't be your main driver for responses. All right, so contents, we have introduction, history, products, operations, costing statement, management structure, business model, extracts of the annual reports of Frinta and YP Burn. They must be the competitor, news reports, reviews of the YP Burn home alarm. All right, brilliant. So it's a 23-page document. Let's start reading it. Firstly, we have the introduction. And what does the introduction say? Frinta is a quoted company that manufactures controls for central heating systems and electronic devices that form the basis for smart homes. Interesting. So you're basically talking about a smart home in which you have central heating systems and you have electronic devices associated. Frinta is based in Westland, a developed country that has a strong economy and whose citizens have a high standard of living, obviously, because it would be a little illogical if you manufactured smart homes in a poor developing country, except for the elite class, of course. Westland's currency is the W dollar. Westlandian company law requires companies to prepare their financial statements in accordance with International Financial Reporting Standards, IFRSs, that change once every while. You're a financial manager at Frinta's head office. Your primary responsibilities are associated with management accounting, obviously, and you report to Amadou Gallo, the senior financial manager, who reports directly to the finance director. So your immediate supervisor is the SFM, who is Amadou Gallo, and you are involved in management accounting work. All right, okay. Let's understand Frinta. And before I talk about Frinta, I just want to, show you this. So this is Amazon Echo and Alexa devices. So all of these, you will notice references. So you have smart speakers, smart displays, which are basically smart speakers with a display, smart displays. Alexa on the go products, Alexa smart home essentials, Alexa smart home entertainment, audio companions, etc. So this is basically Amazon Alexa and Echo devices homepage, which you will notice in your browser tab called smart home devices. So we're pretty much looking at a company which manufactures these kind of products that you see on the screen. Let's go back to the pre-seen. Frinta's history and products. Frinta was founded in the 1970s, much like Amazon, right? Initially manufacturing components such as thermostats to control domestic central heating systems. And Frinta's founder was a plumber who had developed and patented a new type of thermostat that was easier to install and that gave users greater control over their home central heating than traditional controls. So they started by manufacturing thermostats like remote control thermo controllers, which you just use and take the heat up or down. These were easier to install, etc. The company started to manufacture these devices at a time when there was a significant boom in the construction industry, with new homes being built with central heating instead of these individual ACs throughout, and many older homes being modernized and upgraded to include central heating. So he found the right time, this plumber, to start the company, and he probably partnered with construction companies to say, I have this product, central heating thermostats, let me install them, and we'll sell the house as a package. Heating controls. Let's try and understand a little bit in detail. No, this is the first time I'm reading it too, so it's, as I said, like a experience that we are going through together. Frinta's early products were essentially mechanical devices that controlled gas-powered central heating systems. Okay, most homes had a single main thermostat that controlled the central heating system. A rotary dial set the temperature at which the house was maintained. When the air temperature was above that threshold, a simple mechanical device opened a switch inside the device and so disconnected the electrical connection to the central heating boiler. When the air cooled, the thermostat closed the switch and so activated the heating system. So there was basically an automated system where you want the temperature of the house to be at either at a level or at a range, and if the actual room temperature goes up or down, there's an automatic switch that either gets on or gets off. Basic controls. Individual radiators also had mechanical thermostats that controlled the flow of hot water that was piped from the boiler. If a radiator was below its desired temperature, then its thermostat opened a valve that allowed hot water to flow through, heating the radiator and so radiating heat into the room. Okay, pretty basic radiator news or information there, where hot water is flowing through. The thermostat closed the valve once the radiator reached its desired temperature and so prevented overheating. Brilliant. Frinta expanded its range to operate electric heating systems using similar mechanical thermostats to those in its controls for gas-powered heating. So what they did was they expanded their range of gas-powered heating technology into electric heating systems. All of its products were designed to be as attractive as possible, so attractive products, because they were intended for home use. And I mean, if you're selling a house, they want it to look good, right? Anybody who builds a house, even if you, so it has to be attractive. So they made sure that it was attractive and also easy to operate as possible, because these are just normal homeowners. You can't really give them like multiple key dashboards and keyboards for heat control. The company rapidly became the largest supplier of domestic heating controls in Westland. So here we go. After a few years of starting, possibly, they became the largest supplier of domestic heating controls in Westland. Interesting and impressive. Frinta invested heavily in product design, adding features such as mechanical timers that permitted householders to set their heating to switch on and off at predetermined times. So again, basic. Now, when you read this is history, literally history, because these are common things for us nowadays. So there was mechanical timing, avoiding the cost of heating an unoccupied house during the working day. So the moment they included predetermined timing for heating machines, and for it to get switched off after 1 hour or 2 hour, which you normally find with your AC controllers nowadays. When you're sleeping, just switch it on 1 hour, set the timer and sleep. You fall asleep, within 1 hour the machine is switched off. Similar to that, they installed the user interface was a key element of any new design, with each new design or device being designed to be as easy as possible to operate and blending into a domestic setting rather than looking like a piece of industrial equipment. So very attractive units. Frinta was quoted on the Westland Stock Exchange in the early 1990s. At that time, the founder stepped down from the company and retired. He sold his shares and took no further interest in the company. Okay, smart founder then. Since its flotation, Frinta has continued to manufacture control devices. Its range now includes controllers for hot water heaters and air conditioning systems. So not only central heating systems, they have air conditioning systems and water heaters. Frinta has been at the forefront of incorporating new technologies into its designs. For example, replacing mechanical thermostats with electronic sensors and also incorporating LCD displays that show settings and have made controllers more reliable, as well as making them even easier to operate. So, you have smart devices like this. Here we go, mechanical displays. There we go. One major area of change has been online control. So you bring in connectivity, internet as well. Most of Frinta's devices are now smart, meaning that they can connect to the householder's home Wi-Fi system and can be operated by an app downloaded to a smartphone. So you can connect to your house wherever you are through your phone. Or tablet or laptop or desktop computer. Users can operate their heating systems from any room in the house, making use of the user-friendly interface in the app to make any adjustments with ease. So the interface is easy, you can connect with any device and you can adjust very easily. They can also control their devices from outside the home, provided they have an internet connection, obviously. Frinta's app makes it easy for householders to program their heating systems to suit their lifestyle. So now lifestyle adjustments to suit your lifestyle. Let's see, this seems interesting. For example, the heating system can be programmed to switch itself off at times. It's great. Today we are the 21st century kids or whatever, right? You're probably a kid, but I'm not. Getting old now. But we know that systems can program to switch themselves off at times when the house is likely to be unoccupied. The householder can also override the timer from a smartphone or any other connected device. This can be convenient if, say, returning earlier than expected and wishing to come home to a warm house. Wow. You're coming to your house, on your way, you're driving your car, in 5 minutes you're going to get to your house, but it'll be cold. You can just like, Alexa or whoever this Frinta's smart home device AI is. Alexa, I'm on my way home, heat up the house. And then you open the door, you find a warm house. It's probably, I don't know, this looks like it's something for Shah Rukh Khan. Frinta remains Westland's leading supplier of controllers by revenue. It also has significant export sales, primarily to developed countries. Okay, so Westland is also a country with people who have high income, and they are also doing significant exports, primarily to developed countries, obviously, because the so-called development is, if you measure it by terms of GDP and money, then the rich people must be buying this. There are several major competitors in the controllers market. Their products are significantly cheaper than Frinta's, but they are also much less sophisticated. There is still demand for inexpensive controllers that do not have the smart features used in Frinta's latest range. Indeed, there are still manufacturers who produce mechanical controllers that are similar in design and construction to those that were made by Frinta when it was founded in the 1970s. So you still have the entire range, you still have the types of products that are very old and mechanical, but you have Frinta's, high-end latest range as well. All right, moving further. Frinta's heating and ventilation controllers are sold through building supply companies that resell them to heating engineers, plumbers, and builders. So now we are talking about heating and ventilation controllers. So they are sold to engineers, plumbers, and builders through supply companies, through an intermediary. Frinta will also accept bulk orders from large house builders who are prepared to order 500 units or more at a time in order to equip each of the new houses on a major development. So, you have an apartment complex going, you're a builder. So it's very logical and likely that Frinta has very close relationships with real estate developers, property builders, building supply companies, etc. Frinta's controllers must be installed by qualified professionals. An amateur installation could cause the controller to malfunction, thereby damaging Frinta's reputation. So whoever is going to install must be qualified. Errors can also cause gas or water leaks, which could prove dangerous or damaging to property. Frinta will not, therefore, sell its controllers directly to the public or to retailers that supply the do-it-yourself market. They don't sell controllers directly to people or retailers. They are only selling to the companies that we saw earlier. Engineers, plumbers, builders, property developers, etc. To safeguard their reputation, possibly. Your reputation, because you're of Frinta, right? You're the finance manager of Frinta. Don't ever forget that. Think of me as your SFM, senior finance manager, and you have just joined the company and we are just going through the induction process. I'm letting you know what the company is all about. Frinta markets its controllers heavily through advertising in trade magazines and online in various websites aimed at relevant tradespeople. That's where the marketing happens. Trade magazines, online, websites. The purpose of this advertising is to ensure that new products and new features are publicized and to maintain brand recognition. Obviously, you want your new products out there as soon as possible, as early as possible. You want to get reservations and bookings. Pre-sales would be ideal than post-sales because you have the money inside, and you want to maintain your brand recognition. Frinta does not advertise to the general public because homeowners rarely specify a particular brand when they are replacing or upgrading any part of their heating or air conditioning systems. The homeowners, they're not really concerned about this, or rather, they might think that they are unaware. They don't have the sufficient knowledge to pick and choose. So they rely on, instead, they rely on contractors or recommendations that meet their needs. So they ask the contractors to make the decision for themselves. That's why I said Frinta must have very close ties with these type of people, like contractors. Professionals are generally happy to recommend and use Frinta unless their customers insist that they use cheaper brands. The controllers are a visible element of any heating or ventilation system, and ease of use has an immediate impact on customer satisfaction. So perhaps the main critical success factor in terms of the product specifications itself is ease of use. Remember that. It might come in handy, where if you build a product that is not easy to use, especially because the end user is a homeowner, and homeowners in their home want to be convenient, right? Want to have a convenient life. I mean, especially if you're someone who has high income and you're buying a smart home, and the whole point is that the home does the work for you, because the home is smart and you're an idiot. No, you're not, but the home is smart, apparently. So because of that, you want the home to do whatever you're supposed to do, and therefore ease of use is a critical element that you must keep an eye on. That brings me to a new section called smart speakers. Oh, right. So let me just show you speakers. Here we go. Smart speakers. Stream music, order a pizza, control your smart home, and more with Alexa. I should probably charge Amazon, I don't even have an affiliate link. Anyway, if you just buy, just be careful. Okay, in 2016, Frinta launched what was to be the first of a range of Frinta Friend smart speakers. This line of products was launched in response to the success of the YP-Vox smart speaker system. YP-Vox smart speaker system produced by YP-Burn in 2014. YP-Vox. So I'm going to call this Vox, okay, this company, and Burn because the initial YP seems a little unnecessary. At the time of its launch in 2014, the Vox smart speaker was a new product category that combined various existing technologies that were intended to simplify users' lives. So in response to Vox by Burn, Frinta launched Frinta Friend in 2016, couple of years later. Notice that gap. The essence of a smart speaker can be summed up as follows. Firstly, it has an online connection. This is the element that makes these devices smart. Smart speakers connect wirelessly to the home Wi-Fi and through that to the internet, Wi-Fi, 5G, 4G, whatever. Smart speakers act as hubs that make it quicker and easier for users to interact with compatible electronic equipment within the home and also to access services through the internet. So because the device is connected, you can order a pizza, you can get messages, get instructions when the homeowner is outside somewhere at work or driving home, etc. So there's the online connection. Secondly, it has a microphone. Users operate smart speakers by giving them verbal instructions, like what you find with your phone, right? Siri. Hello, Siri. What is your name? Can I order a pizza? Where can I find a post office? Things like that. You can ask the same thing, which means there's a microphone, like what you find here, but embedded in the device. The microphones in a smart speaker system are capable of distinguishing users' voices from the background noises. So there's noise cancellation in a normal domestic setting. Users simply tell the device what to do. Like, Alexa, can you play a song? Alexa, I need therapy. Something like that. Speakers. Smart speakers reply verbally to users' requests using computer synthesized voices. So Alexa has its own voice, Siri has its own voice, and whoever knows, Vox probably has its own voice, and Frinta Friend has its own voice. They have good quality speakers to enable those responses to be heard clearly. The speakers give the devices other functions such as playing music that is stored on the home network or that is being streamed from the internet. So I think you have all these devices, Echo Studio, Bose for $349, Sonos One, Echo Studio. So all of these are high-end and good speaker quality because one of the most frequent uses of these speakers is listening to music. Or that is being streamed from the internet, so it can play radio, internet songs, etc. Some smart speakers have video touch screens, but those are generally used to augment the function of the speakers. The devices are still operated primarily by using verbal exchanges. So it doesn't mean that you have to go and click and touch the panel like a smartphone, but some expensive models do, like what we noticed here. Some of them have speakers. Here we have Echo Show 5, etc. Or Echo Show 10 is also one such device. Artificial intelligence, that's the next element. Smart speakers convert users' verbal instructions to text, which then become commands for the device. Issuing a verbal instruction to a smart speaker is the same as typing a command into a tablet or computer, as long as you can speak legibly, clearly, for the device to understand you, because it anyway has the ability to cancel the noise and filter out your voice. And you, even when you set up the software, you speak a few keywords and it records all of that and builds the parameters to be able to recognize your voice. Brilliant. That continues. The operating systems in smart speakers can interpret inputs and so enable users to talk to them without having to learn a particular set of instructions. You can almost speak a wide range of sentences. For example, the Frinta friend device can make sense of almost any sensible form of request for the weather forecast. Frinta, what will be the weather? What will the weather be like tomorrow? Frinta, will it rain tomorrow? I mean, this is something you should be asking God, isn't it? So, yeah, like I was saying, things that you should be asking God. Printer, tell me what tomorrow's weather will be like, and so on. So, this device can make sense of almost any sensible form of request for the weather forecast. Let's move on. The smart speaker will respond to any instruction that is prefaced by Frinta, which is the device's activation word. So the moment you say Frinta, it gets activated. If the instruction is indistinct or ambiguous, then the device will request that the instruction be repeated or reworded. The software learns users' preferences as well. That's part of the artificial intelligence here. For example, users can input account names and passwords for major online retailers. Then they can make purchases with simple commands such as Frinta, buy soap, powder, and coffee. The smart speaker will then place orders with brands of those items that the user has purchased in the past. If so, or if no such purchases have been made, then the smart speaker would seek clarification before proceeding, perhaps asking, what brand of coffee would you like to buy? So they clarify, they verify, they make purchases, they make the buy, they give the address, they fill in the details. These guys, these smart speakers can do a whole lot. Probably in time, they will replace human beings altogether. Scale. And when I read this, it's funny, it's funny in a sense that we live in a world where everything's slowly getting automated. If you're someone who is in a developing country, or someone who is, who belongs to the low income or the middle income sector, there's a good place for you to reflect, to think, oh, there are people who actually have homes, and in those homes there are devices that do all this work for them. Look at the gap. But is that gap real? Is that gap worthwhile worrying about? Those are things that you can parallelly ponder about. Because in my humble opinion, you don't have to worry about anything in case your dream is to like buy one of these devices. Please, no, not at all. Scale. Users can connect as many smart speakers as they wish to their home Wi-Fi networks. Having multiple devices means that requests can be made from any room that has a smart speaker. For example, the users can say, Printa, add toothpaste to my shopping list. To any connected device and can play the updated shopping list back at any time from any device. So you're basically updating your shopping list. It could be connected to your phone, your tablet, your laptop, your Mac, whichever. Multiple smart speakers can be used as internal communication devices, enabling users to talk to one another or to broadcast announcements across the house. You can have multiple devices. You have a house with 3 floors. There's one in the first floor, another in a couple of rooms, and another on the rooftop, maybe for the birds who are flying over the house. Scale, it is scalable. The more money you have, the more connectivity you can add. Connectivity, that's the next point. Smart speaker systems can interact with other smart devices, though we touched on that point earlier as well. They can communicate with other devices, which is called the Internet of Things, right? IoT. Even though these were not designed to be compatible with smart speaker systems, these smart devices generally use an open source operating system that is designed to control equipment. Any device that can be connected to the home network and operated with an app can, in theory, be controlled by a smart speaker. For example, Dronco manufactures smart electrical plugs that can be switched on and off by a smartphone app. They use an operating system that is compatible with the Frinta smart speaker. So if a user gives a Dronco electrical adapter a name, they can give a name such as table light, then it can be operated by verbal commands such as Frinta, switch on the table light. So when you say that, Frinta recognizes that it's this particular switch and it switches it on. The system can also cope with more complicated commands such as Frinta, switch the table light on at 1800 every evening and off at midnight. Wow, interesting. So to that effect or that level, we have connectivity. Smart speakers can also interact with smartphones. I mean, what can't you connect to smartphones nowadays, right? You can connect absolutely everything except human beings and plants and trees and whatever natural things we have. Everything else is connectable to a smartphone. Users can update their to-do lists or appointment calendars with verbal commands. Your reminders, your to-do lists, your Evernotes. Print, I have a dental appointment at 2:30 on the 23rd of the next month. Their calendar will then be updated and synchronized with their smartphones. So I make this a point to you. If you haven't seen your dentist in a while, please get your teeth and your mouth checked out. Who knows, there might be the odd worm just funneling or flumming around. Updates input into their phones will also be synchronized with their friend-to-friend systems. So continuous updates are also possible. Yip Burn. So I'm going to call them Burn, and their product, I think, Vox. Yip Burn, Frinta's rival in the smart speaker market. The market for sophisticated smart speakers was created by Burn when it launched its Vox smart speaker product in 2014. Vox was the first product that offered effective voice control with artificial intelligence that enabled users to speak naturally. It also introduced the ability to distinguish users' voices from any background noise. Vox was primarily intended to act as an electronic hub within the home. Users would be able to interact with their smart speakers in a variety of ways using an activation word, such as Vox, to distinguish instructions to the device from background conversation, for example. So this is, when we try to understand this section, it's basically a repetition of what we've read so far about smart speaker systems. They're just giving us a brief history on the initial player who introduced a smart speaker device into, I think, the Westlandian market. So, for example, you can update schedules and lists by saying, Vox, Tom has a doctor's appointment at 4:30 next Tuesday afternoon, or Vox, apply for a new passport to Mary's to-do list. It also can conduct basic internet searches. Vox, what is the time in Eastland? Or Vox, when is the next train from Midtown to Capital City? Online shopping. Vox, order black socks from Meltasock, which would probably result in a response listing different brands and sizes of black socks before the order was placed with the selected online retailer and charged to the user's credit card. Operating other smart devices is another option. Vox, switch on the television and find a documentary. Or Vox, increase the heating by 3 degrees. Really? So, did you notice something? All of these things you can do without uttering a single word if you are doing it normally, in the normal way. Either, you switch on the light, you switch on the TV, you use your remote, and this is just outside, but I'm just sharing it with you. Just an observation. But when smart speaker devices come into your home, what happens is that you're always jabbering. You're always talking. Right? And now it's just a point for you to think, should we really need to talk this much? Should we really need to use our mouths this much? I mean, imagine you integrate all the simple actions that you can yourself do. You just going and switching off or switching on a light is not a big deal generally, but you integrate everything. So instead of doing it silently, now what are you doing? You're talking to another person. What does this do? It makes it look like there's another person is in the house. On top of it, you're always jabbering. And I'm just saying, you got to be careful today, because jabbering and yammering and speaking overly, unnecessarily, vainly, too much, we have to think about it. We have to be a little careful. So overall, fundamentally, as a product itself, I don't personally agree with this, but we'll continue our reading on that note. Users enjoyed the fact that their Vox smart speakers could simplify their lives in many different ways and without having to struggle with complicated programming and installation. For example, if a user purchased a new smart television, there was every chance that it would be recognized by Vox when it was first switched on, and that installation would require hardly any input from the user, apart from inputting a username and password. Interesting. So you can actually get some complicated matters resolved through this device. So I guess if I connect it to the previous observation I made about talking and yammering, it primarily, I guess, then depends on the user. Because if you're a smart user or using a smart device, you would know how to use that device smartly, hopefully. Vox benefited from the fact that the smart devices were being developed by many third parties. For example, Dronco's smart electrical adapters are intended to be operated by a smartphone app. They were primarily built for a mobile phone, smartphone application, but they can also be operated by Vox. Frinta's smart speakers, or Frinta Friend. So now we just read about Vox, we're going to read about Frinta Friend. Frinta's entry into the smart speaker market was inspired by Burn. The most immediate reason for this was that Burn's speaker could operate Frinta's smart heating and ventilation controllers. Suddenly, you have a compatible product from a competitor. A secondary reason was that Frinta wished to diversify its product range, and it was clear that Burn's smart speakers had stimulated demand for such devices. So from two ends, where you had compatibility of a competitor's product and you wanted to diversify your range, from both these reasons, now you have a sufficient motivation to build your own product. Frinta's board viewed the fact that Vox could control Frinta's smart heating and ventilation controllers as a threat. Frinta's heating and ventilation controllers are more expensive than other brands, but they sell well because they are attractive and easy to operate. The emergence of smart speakers that can operate heating and air conditioning controllers makes it possible for builders to buy cheaper control systems. These need not be visually attractive because there is no need to mount them where they will be seen if they are operated by Wi-Fi signals from a smart speaker. So there is also little need to make them easy to program and operate if smart speakers can accept simple verbal commands. So in all the perspectives, they felt that Burns' Vox was a major threat. Frinta's initial intention was to create a smart speaker that was to be sold as an accessory for its heating and ventilation controllers. So they wanted to initially kind of plug the controller with an accessory to the heating and ventilation controller. This device would be compatible with existing controllers and would offer greater versatility in terms of operating heating and air conditioning. So Frinta's R&D department had purchased some Vox smart speakers for investigation and had found that they could not replicate all of the functions that a user could input from the Frinta app on their smartphones. The initial brief for the design of the Frinta Friend smart speaker was to design a device that could employ all of the functions of the Frinta smart heating and ventilation controllers. The addition of Frinta Friend to the product range would protect the dominance of Frinta's heating and ventilation controllers at the luxury end of the market. So Vox's smart speakers, while they were working with Frinta's heating and ventilation systems, they could not do everything that the systems were built for. So this was a good in for Frinta, because Frinta now had the opportunity to build a product that would enable the customers to operate everything that the heating and controlling systems loved or were designed to do. Frinta was also keen to develop smart speakers because demand for smart heating and ventilation controllers had matured. There was a steady demand from house builders and for replacements and upgrades to the existing system. So there is, continuous demand. But Frinta had already met most of the demand from that market. Frinta's board was keen to find a suitable product that it could develop in order to stimulate growth. So you already have your systems in place, which means you have a massive customer base to which you have made an initial sale of a different product. So they already know you and they already trust you because they are using your systems. This is a good point to capitalize from a marketing and sales perspective. Frinta's board was keen. Smart speakers were considered a suitable product for development because they were intended to be simple to use, a key consideration in Frinta's approach to design. Frinta's approach to making heating controllers had also given it experience of making electronic items. So they had the experience of making electronic items for use in the home that were attractive to look at. So we slowly start seeing that Frinta is thinking and capitalizing on its expertise, experience, its own system backing, the heating and controlling system. So with all of this, we see it going toward the direction of developing a product, smart speaker, that is probably way better than Vox. We'll see where it goes. Frinta's R&D department was instructed to design a smart speaker that fulfilled the following criteria. 1, it should be an effective means of operating Frinta's smart heating and ventilation controllers using simple voice commands. It should offer additional features for organizing users' personal lives, conducting basic internet searches and online shopping. Frinta's R&D department was instructed to deliver a design that was superior to that, as I said, of Burns' Vox smart speaker in terms of the hardware and software that provided these features, a superior product. The design team decided to base Frinta Friends operating system on the software that was already in use in the company's smart heating and ventilation controllers. So they have a basic operating system to work on that gave the greatest possible flexibility in terms of offering voice control to those products. It also assisted in the development of superior performance of a standalone smart speaker. Now, when you think about all of this, this is leading to a very nice point in the managerial level or the gateway level, where you're basically talking about product design, product development, product manufacturing, and end of the day, product sales. Costing even. Frinta's choice of software meant that Frinta Friend was less suitable for use as a universal controller that could operate other smart devices. And Frinta's design team programmed the ability to update schedules and lists on smartphones and the ability to control Dronco's smart electrical plugs into Frinta Friend. So they have universal control for other smart devices, update schedules and lists on smartphones, Dronco's smart electrical plugs, and those were the only third-party products that could be managed by Frinta Friend when it was launched. Frinta's board believed that consumers would be prepared to buy Frinta Friend because of its build quality and the excellence of its artificial intelligence, and would not be unduly concerned about integration with other manufacturers' smart devices. Most smart products are designed to be operated by users' smartphones, and so Frinta's board believed that users would have little need of the ability to use their smart speakers for this purpose. Brilliant. So they end up building a product which has excellent design, good integration and connectivity with third parties, and the board was very confident as well. Frinta launched its first Frinta Friend smart speaker in 2016 with updates and upgrades being added since then. Frinta and Yipburn are the leading manufacturers of smart speakers worldwide. Yipburn remains the larger and more successful in the smart speaker market with approximately 60% market share by revenue. So one point that I want to take your attention to is that Frinta and Yipburn or Burn are the leading manufacturers worldwide. So whatever numbers you're going to see, these are coming from the entire world, not only Westland or Eastland, etc. Let's talk a little bit about the Frinta Friend range, which now comprises 3 models of smart speakers. Frinta Friend Classic. This is the most popular device. It has a large and powerful speaker and is intended to look good on a table, desk or shelf. Doesn't look so good to me, but it's okay. Then they probably can't use. No, but I don't really see a problem. Okay, let's assume that it's very popular. Frinta Friend Mini. The mini speaker offers all of the features of the classic but in a smaller device. The mini speaker is a little smaller than the one in the classic, which reduces the sound quality slightly. The mini costs less than the classic. So a product that costs less with a smaller size, with a smaller speaker and with slightly reduced sound quality. Frinta Friend Screen. The screen is larger than the classic and has a video display that can show graphics, pictures and text. It has 2 speakers built into its case, giving it a better sound quality than either of the other models. So we are basically seeing something like maybe this Echo Show. The screen model has a camera that can be used for video calls either to another Frinta Friend screen within the same home network or remotely over the internet. A photoelectric cell controls the video display's brightness so that it can be used in a bedroom without keeping the occupants awake with a bright display. Can be used in a bedroom. So automatic brightness control or brightness adjustment ability is embedded. Frinta Friend Classic, Frinta Friend Mini and Frinta Friend Screen. 3 products in the range. All 3 models offer the same basic operating capability. Some users own a single Frinta Friend while others have several. It is possible to mix different models in the same network. The devices are easy to install and use. If the owner buys a single device, then it will set itself up asking the user for specific information such as the password for the home Wi-Fi router, a security phrase to access Frinta account, and a device name. If the user adds more devices, then the existing Frinta will detect the new speaker and will set it up automatically, requiring only the user's security phrase and a device name. The Frinta is sold as a consumer product through retailers, both physical and online, who specialize in home electronics and entertainment systems. So fundamentally, we see a situation where Frinta was initially selling heating and central heating systems, gas, electric, etc. These were not sold to end customers or through to retailers. But here we have in Frinta Friend, a smart speaker device that Frinta is selling to the end customer directly through physical and online channels. Simple. Okay, now that is actually enough. We read just way too much of information about these devices, smart speakers and all that. Let's talk a little bit about the business. Let's get a little more closer to the things that your syllabus actually connects with. Frinta's operations. Okay, Frinta has a factory in Westland Central City that manufactures controllers for heating, hot water and air conditioning systems. The factory is located in the industrial zone on the city's outskirts. Frinta's head office is located beside the factory. So one factory, by the side you have the head office. This is in Central City of Westland. Frinta has been located in Central City since its foundation. Initially, it occupied a small factory unit, but by the year 2000, it had moved to its present location, a large and modern electronics factory with a purpose-built head office in the adjacent building. Okay. Frinta has a second factory in Tech City located in Westland, 90 miles south of Central City. So another factory. The Tech City factory is used to make Frinta Friend products, the smart speakers. The location of this factory was chosen because many electronics companies are based in Tech City, and Frinta's board believes that it is desirable for the company to maintain a close relationship with the manufacturers whose products may be made compatible with Frinta Friend. So not unlike Silicon Valley, here they have probably an industrial zone or something like that, a city which is a hub for these kind of electronics equipment manufacturers. Frinta's R&D facility is based in a large building that is adjacent to the Central City factory. All of the company's research and development is located here because the board is keen to make the best possible use of synergies between the major product ranges, controllers and smart speakers. Okay. So in summary, they have two factories, one in capital city, one in Tech City. Capital City factory produces all those, industrial equipment, central heating, lighting, etc. The Tech City factory manufactures Frinta Friend smart speaker products. That's pretty much it. R&D is also with the head office factory, which is in the Central City. So in the Central City large factory, you have the factory, you have the head office, you have the R&D department, which is a very important element in this kind of business sector. Head office staff are split into 5 departments: production, marketing and distribution, human resources, finance and administration, R&D. 5 departments: production, marketing and distribution, HR, F&A, finance and administration, R&D, research and development. Frinta does not have direct sales channels for any of its products. Pricing decisions, including any discounts, are made by the board. So what exactly does a direct sales channel mean? Pretty much a channel that directly links you to the end consumer. You're a manufacturer, directly links you to the end consumer. So it's not like Frinta has a shop outside its factory, a display outlet where they have their products and they're selling it right off the bat. There is nothing like that. They have intermediaries, they have suppliers, they have distributors, they have retailers, they have online sellers. So they sell to sellers, and those sellers or distributors and those people, they sell to retailers and they sell to end customers. Pricing decisions, including discounts, are made by the board. Fair enough. Okay, so now we have costing, a costing statement sheet. Interesting. And well, so I'm not going to take you through the numbers, but you can basically see the component set on the left and uh, the network heating controller, the 4 products, mini, classic, and front screen. Overall total parts and materials. So, so in this point, at this point, you start your knowledge with respect to costing, absorption costing, marginal costing. Even we don't have any budgeted situation, budgeted numbers here, so you don't have all these variance matters unless something pops up in the exam. But having a costing statement in your pre-seen clearly indicates that you have to make sure that you revise and you build your awareness, you build your remembrance about all the costing related areas that are important, even through learning curves, even in the learning curves aspect, because manufacturing, with respect to certain manufacturing operations, depending on the nature of the manufacturing, learning curve effect can kick in. So remember, just brush through all of those areas that relate to costing from a P2 perspective, from a E2 perspective also in certain elements, so that you don't have any worry at all. Okay, Frinta's management structure. So we said there are 5 departments. So you see the 5 department heads or directors directly reporting to the chief executive, CEO, David Wynne Jones. So David is the chief executive officer. We have Asma Al-Kuwari, production director, Alcine Chan, marketing and distribution director, Taras Kononenko, finance director, FD. So your supervisor is reporting to him. Your supervisor is the senior finance manager. He or she is reporting to Taras Kononenko. Petunia Gomotsang Gaoalafe. Nice name, beautiful name. Petunia Gomotsang Gaoalafe is the HR director, and Narendra Segal, R&D director. So what are these departments actually in charge of? Production director is in charge of production scheduling, quality management, and purchasing. Marketing and distribution director is in charge of advertising, social media, okay, and distribution management. Taras Kononenko, finance director, is in charge of management accounting and financial reporting. Petunia is in charge of recruitment, retention, and training of staff. And R&D is in charge of product design, product development, software, and adapt. So I want to, at this stage, remind you something important, because you see product design here, product development here, and above we saw costing statement also. There is a very important area that can be very handy and very useful and very easy to test also. Can you suggest, or can you at this point guess what those areas will be, predominantly from P2? While you think about that, let me just quickly take your attention to this. Here, the production director is looking at both the products, the heating and ventilation controllers and the smart speakers also. So as to product design and development, what I was talking about is target costing, Kaizen costing, right? Kaizen, continuous improvement, and the associated, various other production philosophies like lean manufacturing, TQM, total quality management, just-in-time manufacturing, the whole quality aspect. So make sure that you brush up on that area as well. You never know which area might get tested. All right. Frinta's board also includes the following non-executives: Hamara Degan, non-executive chairman; Abdul Hamid Neshad; Rachel Maminto, Te Oti Rakena, Hina Kazimi, sayonara, no, that's to say bye, right? Arigato is thank you. How do you say hi? Okay, I'm a huge Naruto fan, so I would probably say Hina Kazimi Wakatete Bayo, Hind Al Naimi, These are, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 non-executive members in the board, 6 board members, executive members here, 5 directors and 1 CEO. The board balance is automatically achieved. Obviously, one of them is the chairman. We also hope that not only in terms of numbers, but in terms of skill set, in terms of expertise, in terms of ability to guide, all those areas, in terms of risk exposure and the ability to manage risk, all of those areas, even nowadays, even diversity, we hope that the board is balanced, right? That's an element of corporate governance that you can consider here, not heavily technically, but just over the top. Frinta's business model. Familiar image. Value creation and value management. Defining value, creating value, delivering value, and capturing residual value. So defining value, how does it do? Frinta aims to simplify the lives of end users by developing products that are sophisticated but that remain easy to use. Aims to simplify the lives of end users. Sophisticated but easy to use. Okay. Then creating value. Frinta creates value through innovation in hardware and software and through manufacturing products that are both attractive and well constructed. So innovation, attraction, well constructed, well probably designed would be a better word. Delivering value. Frinta delivers value by engaging with the makers and wholesalers of heating and ventilation equipment and with major retailers of home electronics products. So the partnerships are the means of how Frinta delivers value. Capturing residual value, whatever is left. Frinta offers premium products that are priced to reflect their technical superiority and their build quality while monitoring and managing the costs. So they are pricing above market range because they are producing a product that is above market standard. This is how Frinta, right? Frinta defines, creates, delivers, and captures residual value. And value is a very critical element in modern updates of the syllabus. Value creation, value systems, value management. On the other side, you have metrics like shareholder value, not shareholder wealth, right, or shareholder profits. So you talk about shareholder value. Measurements, KPIs like economic value added, residual value, etc. So value is a critical element. Make sure that you quickly brush up on those areas as well if you are if you feel that you're weak. Okay, let's see. Frinta has always focused on quality and ease of use in the design and manufacture of its products. This is true of both its heating and ventilation controllers and its smart speakers. Frinta was founded by a plumber who believed that the company's initial success was attributable to continuing innovation and improvement. So I'm seeing Kaizen here. For instance, the market for smart heating and ventilation controllers is mature. Frinta continues to innovate and making controllers that are as easy as possible to adjust and to operate. Whether operated by push buttons on the control unit, a smartphone, or a smart speaker. Whatever method you use, Frinta makes sure that these controllers are as easy as possible to adjust and operate. That's a critical element. They keep upgrading, they keep making changes, like how I try to do when I teach. Plumbers and builders often specify Frinta controllers because they know that their customers will find it easier to operate their heating and air conditioning. Second point is Frinta smart speakers continue in the tradition of heating controllers. Frinta Friend can be set up within minutes of opening the box without requiring any IT skills. So plug and play. Adding an additional speaker to the network is just as simple. Frinta invests in manufacturing equipment and in good quality materials that ensure that its products look attractive in a home setting. Feedback from consumers indicate that Frinta's products inspire confidence because of their high build quality. Wow, okay. So you're basically saying that consumers, when they see the products, when they touch and feel and use the products initially, they feel confident about the product because they have a high build quality. So I think these are all critical success factors for Frinta and for the industry overall, and definitely drivers that push the revenue up. And also these are factors that enable Frinta to price the product, and the costing is here. So the selling prices, you can calculate the margins or the markups, whichever, and see, you will notice that there are significant margins added. So here you have a product which is in Frinta network heating and controller, $25. Your selling price is at 42. So which means, you have about $17 on top of your cost per unit that you sell. Similarly, you have the same kind of behavior. You have $10, $12, 41, $14. The margins keep increasing, at least in absolute terms. You can calculate the percentage values leisurely, or with respect to your individual tutors and whoever you're working with. Just do the complete financial analysis very carefully, do a percentage calculation, do a composition calculation, do margin markup calculations, etc. So feedback from the consumers indicate high build quality. Okay. Frinta's experience in the manufacture of heating and ventilation controllers has frequently involved working with the manufacturers of central heating boilers, air conditioners, and radiators, so that Frinta's controllers can be integrated into an efficient system that is both reliable and easy to operate. So they continuously work with manufacturers and central heating, manufacturers of boilers, air conditioners, etc. So this partnership, because when you work with manufacturers, you can get sufficient information that will make your own operation seamless, your own operation easy, and your product much better, easier for integration, because you're getting input, you're getting feedback real time from the manufacturer. And this, what does this do? This allows the system to be reliable and easy to operate. Good objectives for a product manufacturing system to have: reliable product, easy to operate product. That experience has been invaluable in the development of a successful smart speaker brand. The Frinta Friend is designed for use in a standalone mode, although it can be used to control Frinta's heating and ventilation controllers. So you can use it standalone. Frinta has also collaborated with Dronco in order to enable, who came up with these names? Yipburn, Yipbox, Dronco, beautiful, beautiful names. In order to enable Frinta Friend to switch devices plugged into a Dronco electrical adapter on and off. And talking about names, I think the name that I like the most is Petunia Gomotsang Gao Alafe. That is the name I love the most, this time from the MCS or the Gateway Board of Directors. Okay, back to the discussion. Sorry about that. Just taking a small break. Frinta's products. So we were talking about how it can be used in standalone mode, collaborations with Dronco, etc. Frinta's products are marketed on quality and functionality. So marketing is dependent on these two factors, quality and functionality, pretty obvious factors. Frinta's heating and ventilation controllers are relatively expensive in comparison to competing brands. They are often recommended by heating engineers who have been commissioned to design and install high quality heating and ventilation systems, and so are more focused on quality than on price. So customers who are more dependent or more have a higher tendency toward quality than on price are the target market of Frinta. The same is true for builders who often specify Frinta controllers as a selling feature in their more expensive homes. The developed countries, high income range, maximum or premium price point. We have a company like Apple here. Frinta's only major competitor in the smart speaker market is Yipburn. The retail prices for both companies' products are comparable. Neither company actively aims to compete with the other on the basis of price. So they're not price competitors until they become, so you just keep an eye on that for the unseen. All right, extracts from Frinta's annual report. So I'm not going to do a detailed analysis here, but they've been making millions, in terms of millions, about $158 million, W dollars, everything, in 2020. Frinta Group. So let's see Yipburn, how much they made. Do we have? Yeah, Yipburn has made $264 million. What? So they are the bigger of the two. Yipburn probably has other products as well then. But looking at the profit alone, 264 million Yipburn, 158 million Frinta. So we seem to be the smaller player. They seem to have a bigger market share with smart speakers. They might have other products as well. We have share capital $800. Profits are increasing. Revenue is going up. Looking good. Something that I can notice just off the top here is the marketing expenses have decreased. Could be for positive reasons, right? Like we have been able to get discounts, or negative reasons that we haven't been doing as much as we should be doing. Either way, while the profit has increased, about the bottom line margin has grown up, absolute terms, about $5 million, right? Where top line growth is at about 770, 820, so you have about 50 million. So while top line is growing at about 50, 51 million, or 49 million, you have bottom line being fed at about 5 million. So that's something to just keep an eye on. Just do your complete analysis. Make sure that you have a strong background on Frinta's numbers, because you're the finance manager. If you're the finance manager, you're the one who's preparing this. You probably should have these in your mind. Even if you don't memorize them, you should probably have a good handle on these numbers. We have a segmental analysis as well. So please make sure that you have a thorough understanding of this. Just break down the percentages, try to understand from where, which segments have grown, which segments have fallen. Like heating and ventilation, you see revenue 408 has fallen to 369. And this is just Frinta's numbers. So make sure that you have a proper understanding. And you see that here graphically depicted, where in terms of revenue, heating and ventilation brought more into the company in 2019, but this time it has decreased. Whereas operating profit, we still have the same mix, kind of similar mix. Right? In fact, operating profit, the profit from heating ventilation, the operating margin surely has increased, or slightly decreased. My apologies, slightly decreased from 2019 to 2020, but still bringing more. So when you compare these two figures, top and bottom, revenue and operating profit, you have a product, heating and ventilation I'm talking about, you have a product whose contribution to top line has decreased, but still it hasn't really eaten too badly into the margin that particular product or that particular segment is bringing in. But your numbers, a proper numerical analysis, financial analysis, will further clarify all of this. Yipburn's annual report extracts are here. Yipburn is Frinta's only major competitor in the market for smart speakers. But they don't only manufacture smart speakers. So we are talking probably like a company like Samsung. And they have a range of other smart consumer electronic items as well. Yipburn is based in Westland and is quoted on the Westland Stock Exchange. All right. So both companies are based out of Westland. You have the statements, and then we arrive at one of the final segments of your pre-seen news reports, and I think there are some product reviews to look at after that. So let's take a look at the news reports. First one is from Westland Business Daily. It says Internet of Things continues to expand into the home. So-called smart devices have existed for many years. They are essentially machines that have an internet connection that enables them to send information or receive instructions over the internet. So any device that has an internet connection, you can call it smart. Smart technology has many commercial applications. For example, smart factories can use a combination of sensors, software, and robotics to automate production in ways that would have been unimaginable before the internet. Machines from different suppliers can communicate and integrate with little or no human intervention, like the modern version of the Toyota production system. This is possible because of the development of common software standards that allow for a common machine language. This phenomenon of interoperability is often referred to as the Internet of Things, IoT. The IoT has been so successful in the industrial setting that it is being rolled out in the home. Early applications include smart meters, which enable utility providers such as gas and electricity companies to download meter readings and bill them without requiring a physical meter reading. So online, live, you read the meter. More advanced applications include the smart refrigerator that has a barcode sensor that allows users to scan products when they are stored and when they are used. That makes it possible to check the contents of a refrigerator using a smartphone app. Let's just type smart refrigerator. You basically have refrigerators with a TV, right? Where you basically connect it to your mobile phone and you check what is inside this refrigerator before you open it, etc. Wow. Look at what development means today. Right? You basically, as time passes by, all right, so you have a smart screen as well, a lady, a gentleman, and a product for sale. So this is basically a fridge with a phone. All right, back to this. Most models can also be programmed to place an order for fresh supplies from an online supermarket whenever an item is about to run out. So basically, the fridge orders for you as the stocks are reduced. News item number 2 from Westland Daily News. How many Wi-Fi devices do you have in your home is the headline. A recent study by the University of Westland indicated that the average home has 11 smart devices, 11, that are connected to the internet and used on a daily basis. As many as 10% of homes have 18 or more devices. Wow, what? 18 devices? You're probably talking about multiple phones, multiple, smart devices. There is plenty of room for growth in that number. Really, you want more smart devices? In theory, a typical domestic Wi-Fi router can connect to as many as 255 devices at once. Users who attempt to use all of that capacity could find that they have insufficient bandwidth to use any of those connections effectively. It is generally recommended that the number of connections to be limited to 45 devices. Whoa, 45 devices. If you have 45 smart devices in your house, then you don't need to live in that house. Even 11 devices can be difficult to use in the average home. Wi-Fi signals can generally reach up to 50 meters indoors, but that range can diminish rapidly depending on the number of floors and internal walls between the device and the router. The construction materials used in those barriers will also have a part to play, as will the location of the furniture. So basically, this university theory or research indicates that there's more room for growth. Average, there are 11 or 18 devices on average, but Wi-Fi is a limiting factor in terms of bandwidth, because if you connect multiple devices, then the bandwidth is going to be spread, right? So bandwidth might be allocated just for sufficient for just one or two devices. Now you have a situation where the bandwidth is not enough. So this is where technologies like fiber and 5G have an active role to play. Just keep an eye out on that. Reviews of the Yipburn home alarm as posted to a major online retail site. Yipburn, not ours, not Frinta's. Yipburn home alarm. Glad I bought it. Okay, so we see a situation. There's a house door, I think. Yeah, I hope. Or is it a window? And there's a bird. So I live in an area, the review. I live in an area that has a high crime rate, and so I have been looking for a reliable alarm system. I say a lamb because I'm you know, there's a letter in Arabic called lam, but it's alarm in English. So sorry for the consonant error. Alarm system for quite some time. My old alarm used to send a text message whenever it detected an intrusion, but I had a few false alarms that caused me a great deal of stress. It turns out that the infrared motion detectors on most home alarm systems can be triggered by a sudden change in the sunlight coming through a window, or even a large spider spinning a web in the front of the sensor. Wow. I have upgraded by buying myself a Yipburn home alarm system and added 2 Yipburn outdoor security cameras. Closed circuit cameras, CCTVs. I already had a YipVox, which acts as the control unit. So everything was compatible. Installation was really easy. Now here we have an indication that Yipburn, now I think they're giving you an image, they're giving you direction toward a smart home. You don't only have smart speakers. You can have a home alarm system. You can have heating and lighting. You can have security cameras, and everything can be connected. I have attached a photograph of a cheeky magpie that flew past my bedroom window. Yeah, so I was right, it was a window. While I was away last week, it triggered a motion alarm, but I was able to check that nothing was wrong simply by looking at the images taken by the system and uploaded to my phone. So your smartphone is also connected. It is also possible to view a live video feed from the security cameras from anywhere that has internet access. That can be reassuring during a trip or on holiday. I have given the system 5 thumbs because of the peace of mind that it offers. Yeah, 5 thumbs. Glad I bought it. Debbie says. Let's see. Who is this? Ronald. What does Ronald say? Again, 5 thumbs. Easy to install. I chose the Yipburn home alarm because I already had a Vox smart speaker. There are lots of other smart alarm systems on the market, but most require the installation of a control box that then has to be programmed to link it to the home Wi-Fi network, and remote access requires further programming so that you can use your phone to check your alarm. The Yipburn system sounded so much simpler. So this person already had the Vox smart speaker, and connectivity convenience led him to, this is Ronald, led him to installing the home alarm system. Setup is easy. Second para here. The first thing that you see when you open the kit is a card with a unique serial number. You say Vox learn security system, read out the serial numbers from the card, and your smart speaker downloads all of the software that it needs. When it is ready, it asks you for a security phrase that can then be used to disarm the system. Finally, you position your sensors and the external siren. The Vox detects each as it is switched on and makes all the necessary connections. It also sets up your smartphone to monitor security alerts while you are away from home. The new system started working immediately. Now all I need to do is shout Vox alarm active, and the system gives me 30 seconds to leave the house while it arms itself. When I get home, I have 30 seconds to shout, "Vox, disarm," and then state my security phrase. Well, I was hoping Ronald would share his security phrase here, but he hasn't, thankfully. Intruders cannot disarm the system without that phrase. So that phrase has to be very secret and protected. You have to be very careful with it. And so will trigger an alert and will be photographed. I have awarded the product 5 thumbs because it was easy to set up, Ronald says. There is a lot in the box. Who says this? This is by, well, we don't have the name. We'll see. The IBBN security system comes as a kit comprising two-door window sensors, each of which is attached to an opening. So we have a product description here. Each sends a signal to your Vox smart speaker when it detects that its doors or window has been opened. 3 indoor sensors, each of which detects and photographs movement within the room where it is located. The sensor sends an alert and a photograph to the Vox smart speaker, which uploads that information to the cloud and also sends a message containing the time and date of the alert and a copy of the photograph to the user's phone. This all takes place in the fraction of a second. So alert is sent, photograph is taken, information is uploaded, message is sent, everything instantly. An external siren that is fitted to an exterior wall. So you have 2 door window sensors, 3 indoor sensors, 1 external siren in the exterior wall. This acts as a visible deterrent against intrusion and also alerts neighbors that the security system has been triggered. So someone, a thief trying to come to your house knows, here we have an image. When they see this, they know, okay, this is not a house I want to meddle with. It is possible to extend the kit by adding additional sensors that are sold separately, but it is necessary to buy the kit to get started because it contains the serial number required to download the software to your Vox smart speaker, the one that Ronald was talking about. I found that slightly irritating because the kit cost $450, which is a lot. My apartment only has 1 external door, for example. So I only needed 1 of the window sensors. So 1 extra sensor there as well. The system is easy to operate. It can be armed and disarmed with simple voice commands. It seems to be reliable because it always detects my presence when I get home. I did once forget the security phrase needed to disarm the system and so triggered the alarm. The siren was loud enough to annoy my neighbors who complained about it for days afterwards. I am awarding this product 3 thumbs. It would have been 5, but I'm annoyed that I had to pay for 2 sensors when I only needed 1, and for a siren that I wouldn't have purchased if I had had a choice. Okay, so we have 2 perspectives for the same product. 1 person or 2 people giving 5 thumbs, another person giving 3 thumbs. And that marks the end of the complete reading assist for the CIMA MCS or Gateway Pre-seen assigned Frinta, assigned for you for the November 2021 and February 2022 Gateway paper. One last piece of advice and a reminder again, don't go looking in the internet or YouTube on MCS videos from my channel, because you won't find any except this reading assist unless I create something to just guide you, which is something in the pipeline, but we'll see inshallah. Other than that, I hope thank you for staying with the video. I hope the exercise was interactive. I hope it was enjoyable. And good luck with your exam down the line. If you ever decide to, get the support for the strategic case study, make sure that you check out the channel, because there will be plenty of content that will be very, very helpful to you to clear that final hurdle in the CIMA career that you have had, the strategic case study. On that note, I bid you farewell with peace, greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum to all of you and all your loved ones. Thank you very much. Good luck.